Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Hedgehog's Homestead. Laura here. Today we are going to make a sourdough sandwich bread. It's a pretty simple one, so I hope you guys, if you're newbies, will try it. The only challenging thing about it is this bread can get a little sticky, so it is a little hard to work with. But if you follow the way that we're going to help you get through some of that stickiness, it should be pretty easy here. Sourdough always starts with the starter. I didn't show that this morning because I was pretty tired. But your sourdough starter, you want to have 50 grams of sourdough starter on hand to do this recipe. You start with, well, you probably want a little more than 50 grams, maybe 75 grams or 100 grams. And you take 50 grams away from your active starter your starter that you have. It doesn't have to be active. Ready to go to make bread, meaning. So you start with 50 grams of your starter, 150 grams of water, and 150 grams of flour. And that is going to get you the starter that you need, as big as you need for this recipe. Now, this recipe that I'm doing for you today is 2 loaves, 2 smaller loaves, but you can always store one in the fridge for up to 4 days of just the dough, and then you can bake another one in 4 days. Now, I'm making the 2 loaves. I will give you the recipe instructions for 1 loaf as well. So that's good. I have both, but I'm doing this because I want a loaf for me and my sister. So we are going to start off with, of course, our sourdough starter, which is waiting for me active in the microwave where I like to keep my starter. It's nice and happy, ready to go. 650 milligrams of water. You can get one of these handy dandy scales in your Amazon store for pretty cheap, about 12 bucks. So, and I've just put my bowl on it and measure the water and the stuff out. I have everything else pre-measured out though. Okay, 650 of water. That's 410. It's hard to get water right on the money. So don't feel bad if you go over and you struggle with that too. Because you think I'd have it down by now, but... Alright, you guys. And so we have 650 grams of water. Now we need 300 grams of our starter. Just going to get a spoon out. And I'm going to give that a stir. Look at our starter. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Then we're just going to chop our 300 grams of starter. That's 100 grams right there. It's 200 grams. Uh-oh. It's a good thing I have some starter for backup. Now, I didn't follow her starter guidelines because I might have enough here. It wasn't on the recipe that she gave me on the paper, so I had to ask her. Just enough. There we go. Perfect. Okay, guys. Now, the rest of this stuff I had measured out, so you want to mix that starter in there. Let me get my bread whisk. Mix that starter in there really good. You want that starter to mix with your water really good first. And then you're going to put in 1,000 grams of bread flour or all-purpose unbleached flour. 1,000 grams of, I'm using bread flour today, but you can also use, I used a tiny bit of all-purpose unbleached flour because I was out of bread flour. Make sure it's unbleached. You're going to have better results. It will work with regular. Just going to mix that in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to continue. Now you can see I don't have my flour mixed in. To there, I'm going to just sprinkle in my salt and my sugar. Which I have, the sugar was 40 grams and the salt was 20 grams and my oil is 50 grams. I am using, you can use any oil. She uses olive oil. I am using avocado oil. It's got a milder taste. Some people love bread. I like it in Italian bread when you're making Italian bread, but for just regular bread making, I don't really care for it. Okay, now this is going to be a real sticky dough, guys. So I'm going to get my hands in here a minute because you don't want any air pockets of just loose dough. So I've mixed it all I can with my, just to get it started. But if you don't mix it by hand, there we go. This, I like doing it by hand because you can feel if there's any dough that's not mixed in. This helps mix in your salt better and all of that. There we go. There we go, guys. See how sticky that is? That's how it's supposed to look. It's a shaggy dough consistency is what they call that. Okay. And how you get this off your hands is called a dough scraper. So I'm going to grab that. Just get it off my hands. Now we're going to let this dough sit for 30 minutes. And Then we're going to do a series of stretch and folds. We're going to do 4 stretch and folds. Okay, that's good enough. I'll get that off with some water in a minute. Guys, we will see you guys back in just a few minutes for those series of stretch and folds. Right now I'm just going to put a lid on this and then we'll start that series of stretch and folds. Okay, so there's our dough, and now I have this thing of water here and you're probably wondering why. It's to get my hands in there nice and wet, and then I'm going to move around the bowl. I'm going to stretch this out as far as I can go. And what you're going to see over time, and that's why this is called stretch and fold, because you turn the bowl, pull it, and put it down. Turn the bowl, pull it, and put it down. And this is going to start to turn into, see, you can see how it's starting to turn into a round ball already. Okay. And you just do that until it doesn't want to do it anymore. You start to feel a little resistance. Okay. Okay, it's starting to show some resistance for me. So I'm going to stop right there. So we're going to stop right there and we're going to go ahead and put our covering over this bowl. You guys can put some saran wrap on. I'm going to put this now into my stove with my bread proofing setting on. You can put it in your stove with your oven light on. You just want it in a warm place. And in 30 minutes we'll come back and we're going to do another series of stretch and folds. So this is what our bread looks like now. Okay. Get your hand nice and wet. I'm just going to pick it up. See how it got stretchy again? And fold it. It's going to get smoother throughout this process, guys. Anytime it starts sticking on your hand, just put it in the water. Okay. It's coming together nicely. Okay. Okay. It's the only thing you have to watch out with the water. It doesn't like to stick back. Get your hand nice and wet. I'm just going to pick it up. See how it got stretchy again? And fold it. It's going to get smoother throughout this process, guys. Anytime it starts sticking on your hand, just put it in the water. Okay. It's coming together nicely. Okay. Back into the oven to rise, and be nice if it got to double, but it is sourdough. Sourdough kind of has its own little nature. So I can tell you that it's going to take 2 hours. I can tell you that it's going to take 4 hours, but you want your dough close to doubled, and that's the best guideline to go by. If you don't have a strong sourdough, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you're getting new into, your sourdough's pretty new, just know that and be patient with it. That is one of the hardest things about sourdough, is that it does take longer, it does take a little extra care, but you guys can do it if you're patient and just kind of nurture that sourdough. It's almost like having a little baby. You can do it. I'm gonna probably do a series on how to start a starter. I want to do a series on how to start a regular starter that we all know about here in America, but in Germany they do it a little different, and I would like to try that. So as I'm learning how to do the German one and teaching you as well as I start that, maybe together we can learn how to do a regular and a German sourdough. The reason why I want to try the German sourdough, there's a lot less discard on that. So if you guys want to see that, please let me know in the description below, or not in this, just in a comment below. And I will have this whole recipe in the description below. You'll have to watch the video for the how-tos, because that's a lot to write out, but I will have the recipe, how to make one loaf, and how to make 2 and 1 loaves, the different measurements and all of that. So we'll see you guys back as soon as this is finished its first rise. Our bread has fermented. All it's going to ferment, its first rise is done, in other words. And how I know that is, it hasn't totally doubled, but what you're looking for is when the bubbles are in there. And that's telling me that this is properly fermented and ready to go on to the next step. Now we're going to put it in a pan like this. I'm going to spray this pan out, and I'm only going to do one now and make one for later. So because I only have one pan this size and I need 2. So if I wanted to cook both of these at the same time, I'll probably cook one for tomorrow. So anyways, so I just use this Kirkland canola oil spray. Gives a really nice thick way. You don't have to do it that much. That's all of it. That bread pan is supposed to be non-stick, which it is, but it's the corners that get you, in the corners where it can stick really well. If you look here in the corners, it can stick really easy in there. So I'm going to bring you down into my bowl, getting my bowl scraper. So now I'm going to bring you down into the bowl and also onto the surface of the table so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, tilt it on its side. You're not going to punch this down. You don't do that with sourdough. So, wow, that's a lot of dough. So now I'm gonna, I should have put some flour onto the counter. Oops. I'm gonna put, where I put my bench knife, I'm just gonna put a little line. I'm gonna cut this in half with my bench knife. This is what a bench knife is. Also great for all kinds of handy things around the homestead. Okay. So this one, just gonna kind of fold it up. There we go. The dough is ready. And I'm going to stick this one back into my bowl. And then this one, get some, just lightly, you don't want too much. Your bench knife is your friend with this dough, okay guys, because it is a real sticky dough. I'm actually going to put some flour on my bench knife. Okay, you see how I can manipulate it now with the bench knife. Let me get you back a little further. I think you could probably. Okay guys, I lied. Since you guys didn't see that, I didn't film it. I'm going to go ahead and make this second one now. So let me get out my, this fills out the whole pan, but I have a feeling how big this is in my bowl here, that it might just do that. I just have a sneaky feeling. So I want you guys to see this. Here's my bread. Okay, and bench knife is your friend during this process because of this sticky dough. You don't want to crush the dough, but you want to be able to move the dough. And this is, your bench knife is your friend for doing that. Okay, and I want to get it into like a squared shape or like a rectangle shape. Okay. I'm going to put just a little bit on top because I have to touch it. And okay, I'm going to spray this second pan. Okay, so now I'm just going to fold it on top of each other like that. And again like so. And again like so. Oh my goodness. Put a little too much, okay. And so now we're just going to twist it. Man, this thing's so fluffy, guys. Okay. Get those seams to stick together. Okay, this one's going to have okay. I'm just going to push it You're going to see a lot of bubbles while you're forming your dough. It's just something that happens in dough. Okay, and we'll probably let this one rise a little longer than that one. Okay, I don't want to push on it too much. I don't want to take out the air too much, because this is not a regular loaf. It's sourdough. It's not going to punch back, or it doesn't like to be deflated, let's just say. Kind of like me. I don't like to be deflated either. Who does, right? Sourdough agrees with me, I guess. So let's get these with some saran wrap on, and I'm going to put my spray on the saran wrap as well. And we'll see you guys back when this is all risen. So we have our two bowls right here, our two, you can see that one's not filled in. And that one is, but I bet you this one fills in. If not, I'm fired. I gotta fire myself. All right, you guys, we'll see you back in just a few minutes. We're gonna go ahead and put that saran wrap on. You guys know how to put a saran wrap on a loaf of bread. So I'm not gonna go over that. I will remember to put that on top so it doesn't stick onto my bread, so I can get it off easy. So we'll see you guys back as soon as this has risen its second rise. Just a couple minutes ago, I turned on my oven. A couple minutes ago, it's already told me it's done. So I'm going to sprinkle this first loaf. This is our first loaf here with a little bit of water. It's ready to go. So I'll show you how I do that. And then on the bottom shelf, I have an old sheet pan with a little bit of a lip on it. And I'm going to throw some ice cubes in there. I like to do a cup of ice cubes because it's the perfect amount to steam. They want you to steam for 20 minutes. Actually, I think in the description it says 15, but it should only steam for about 15 minutes anyways if I put a whole cup of ice cubes in. So I'm going to get a cup of ice cubes to do this with water, and it tells you to put 2 cups of water, but I'm using ice cubes, so a nice full cup of ice cubes. Got my water. Let me show you how I sprinkle this water. You can use a spray bottle to put water on the top. This is going to help this rise too, so just sprinkle it on there with clean hands, and that's going to help that top steam. I need these to pull out the rack. Okay, so this goes on the top. And then my ice cubes go on this tray. Oh, come on. Then you hurry up and close that. Don't let out too much heat. I'm gonna put, it's a total cook time of half an hour, okay? Siri, give me a timer for 1/2 hour.
Okay, 30 minutes and counting.
So 1/2 hour is an estimate of time that you have to cook. You want to use your nose and watch for the signs of that bread's smelling really good and done. And then if it sounds hollow on the top, or it's at a temperature of 200 degrees, which you can just stick a thermometer in the side, either a digital thermometer. I use just one of these bad boys. It's been used for bread a lot, so it's got little bread stuff on there, and I'll just stick this in there on the side, and it tells me when it's at 200 degrees, and so I know my bread is done for sure. Then you're going to take that out and put it on a drying rack, and our drying rack, a cooling rack. You're going to take it out of the pan, put it on a cooling rack, and let it sit for 2 hours. That's how you know it's done for sure. You do not want to cut into your sourdough too soon. If you have a sourdough, if your bread's always sticky inside or it molds really quick, it's because you cut into it too soon. So just good to know, right? So we'll see you guys back here in half an hour, and I'm not going to take out the pan on the bottom because I know that ice will melt and then it will be done. So we'll come and see, we'll see you in half an hour. when this is done and take it out on our cooling rack. All right, bye. Okay, have to show this to you guys. This is the cage that I took apart the other day. And the turkeys, it totally only has, well, they had to find a way to get stuck in there. I don't know how they did it. There you guys go. You guys are not the sharpest tools in the shed, are you? Oh, poor guys. Okay, let's check this one out. And see if it's at temp now. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right at 200 degrees. Now we're going to take our stick of butter. You guys can see this really well. And take our stick of butter. Like so. And just run it over the top. Mama. Look at that. Okay. And then we're going to take it out of the pan onto our cooling rack here. Oh! Never had that happen before. There we go, guys. Yummo. Stick that all over the crust. Okay, let's get this one in. Got ice for the bottom. Okay, here we go. It's on a timer. All right, you guys. Beautiful loaf of sourdough bread. Sandwich kind, so we can have it with all kinds of yummy BLTs, grilled cheese sandwiches, French toast. I love it on French toast. There you guys go, a beautiful loaf. I hope you guys try this. We'll dig into it in a couple hours and give it a taste. I'm sure it's going to taste wonderful. If it tastes as wonderful as it looks, we're in for a win. All right, guys. We'll see you in just a couple hours. I'll finish up this other loaf. It will be sitting right next to this one. And you'll get to see how that goes with that loaf being so much smaller or shorter in the pan, but just tells me I need to get another smaller loaf pan because I like that size for me and my husband. The other loaf pan is a great size for when you have a lot of people over. So we'll see you back in a couple hours, guys. Dogs are acting like I'm going to be serving them up some too. I don't know why they think that. Okay. Now because I have that butter on there, oh, nice crumble. It doesn't have that hard top like a sourdough does. This is a sandwich bread, guys, so it's nice and soft. Nice and soft. That's what that oil does. You know, if you were wondering why there was oil put in this bread, that's why. Because it makes it nice and soft. So you can make it for sandwich bread and toast and stuff like that really easy. That's good. Oh my goodness. That's really good. That's better than, this reminds me of something that, a sourdough bread that you would get from a bakery, and a really nice bakery. That's good stuff. This is put out, this recipe is Baker Betty. So credit is where credit's due. Lovely, lovely bread. The other loaf I made of hers was that honey oat wheat bread, and that's really good. That's our favorite family bread recipe, but I think this is going to be my new one. I like sourdough better. That's really good. Sorry, guys. It had me at hello. Okay, you guys. I really hope you try this one out. This is really nice. Really nice. This is going to be, I think, my new family bread. I like sourdough because it's better for your digestive system. So, all right, big time winner. Thank you guys for watching, and please try this recipe out. And as always, God bless.